gentlemen, we'll start our next session with Piyush Joshi at 12:45. Please do stay seated or be back by 12:45. Thank you. The session is on immersive mixing with KLANG. Thank you.
And not a lot of people are still looking forward to an immersive session. I had planned like a listening session, so unfortunately, I organized 40 bell packs, but 20 odd in years are missing now. So luck is in our favor. We have less people, so we can actually go full-fledged with the session. I'll quickly introduce myself. I'm Piyush. I'm the trainer and application engineer for Digico, KLANG, and Fourier with Hightech. I also tour with some of the Bollywood acts in the country, some independent acts also, doing a bit of systems for someone, monitors for someone, FOH for someone. But I primarily have been enjoying monitoring a lot. Everyone's mixing here or have mixed back in the days? Yeah? Okay. Ravi's done quite a bit. So nice to have you, man. So I want to keep it very simple, crisp, as to what is binaural. We've been talking a lot about it. We've been listening, immersive this, immersive that. We've all heard Dolby, right? A bit of this. Dolby is primarily an immersive codec doing like Dolby Atmos. So I would like to explain what is a binaural space. Okay, we'll quickly cover what are the primary reasons behind us as humans. How do we manage to localize subjects? You know, I generally do this session without a mic because then actually we are in an binaural space. My throat is conked off, so I really need to use a mic today. Yeah. Okay. I would actually want to know if there are any questions that you guys want to start off with, or should I just go ahead? Do you have anything? Yeah? Cool. So, binaural basics. What is spatial hearing? Ideally, spatial hearing is when you are in a natural space, in an acoustic space where you have your two earlobes working simultaneously, but your source, your subject, is not equidistant from your left and right ear. So how do we filter that? How do we localize things in an immersive space? Wow, I didn't know I have a prompter here. I'm not used to this. Cool. Quickly, there are like three main reasons behind us managing to identify a binaural space. One is level, time, coloration. We'll go over these three topics primarily because that's what we need to understand. How is our brain actually, counteracting all the other parts? So, what is level? Interaural level difference. It's quite straightforward. Can someone tell me what is this? It's a pan. Yeah. So, in a stereo field, we tend to pan things left, right, and we can identify, we can locate where the source is coming from. If it's dead center, it's dead center. We slightly pan it to the left, slightly pan it to the right. That's a pan button, yeah? That's primarily a level difference. More than pan, it's quite amazing how everything in audio is actually volume. You know, from compression to all the fancy terms, everything is essentially volume. The other tools are actually controlling the dynamic range, which is very objective. If you want to control a dynamic range of a high transient instrument like a kick drum, you would go for a different kind of compressor. Whereas if you're going for something, like a bass, you would go for a different kind of compressor because they work differently, but at the end of the day, they're actually just controlling volume. Yeah. So interaural level difference is the first point how our brain, I'm clear, yeah? How our brain is actually localizing objects. Yeah? First point, interaural level difference. Now, time difference. Do we get something by looking at the picture? Yeah? So, what is this? This is essentially a frequency-specific delay. When we are in an acoustic space, we are listening with both our ears. Yeah? But as I mentioned, it's not equidistant. Okay? So in this image, the drum kit is closer to the right ear, yeah? So it will definitely reach the right ear first, and then it'll reach the left ear with whatever reflections. It's quite interesting how our human anatomy works. The low end we kind of perceive, it's an omnidirectional source, right? Low end, it's all around us, whereas from high mids, even some lower mids to high, it's purely directional, yeah? So the low end can be around us. The HF a lot of times actually travel through our ear and makes it to the other ear. So these are all different speed, you know, unless I have only air in my brain, it would travel at the same time, but hopefully it's not just air there. So that's a time difference. Just purely frequency specific time delays. A source might have content from 100 hertz up to 22 kilohertz or whatever. We perceive it linear. We'll come over it later. Our brain is very smart at identifying the time difference in. It's actually like a frequency signature. If I'm not wrong, they call it frequency signature. Yeah, everything is time specific. 100 hertz travel at a different speed, a different wavelength. It takes a different time as compared to any other frequency. Yeah, so interaural level difference, pan, the time difference because of the pan, and the third thing is coloration. So what is coloration? Are we okay with the first 2 points that we covered? Yeah? Straightforward, yeah? Cool. So what is coloration? Now, again, same example, drum kit towards your right. So we can see the right ear, if we look at the curve, it's quite smooth. You know, we hear it directly. As I mentioned, from the low end, it's not so even, but it's fairly even as compared to what we have in the blue, which is left, because you're not getting the HF direct. It's a lot of reflections depending on what kind of points it is hitting, you know. So this is what develops color in the sound, which by color I mean, how does it sound actually, you know? At this point, what I would like to do is shut my mic, and I'll try to do something. I'll do it from here. There are always priority spots, yeah? What I was trying to do when I was moving around is, wherever there's intelligibility in terms of high frequency, it'll always be from front, yeah? The moment I go behind, there will be less. HF might boost a little low mids by just pan. I'm not doing any sort of EQ, yeah? So this brings me to the point we wanted to discuss. Can we hear linear? Can we hear linear? Do we hear linear? No, we cannot. Anatomically, we cannot. But we perceive linear. How? Those 3 points that we discussed, think of it as a system engineer, yeah? You go to a room, you go to a new room, you get your RTA out, you take frequency response, phase response, and you counteract on them. If the room has some low-end boost, you'll bring it down. If there's some HF boost, you'll try to make it as flat as possible, which we, of course, strive to do in all the production studios to get the most flat response. But we don't listen linear. Does that mean we should not strive for it? We should, of course, because our brain perceives linear. So there's a very common thing called cocktail party effect. Do we know what's cocktail party effect? Not that cocktail party effect, but a cocktail party effect. So what happens is, when we are in a crowded room, yeah, people start drinking, they're getting loud, and your friend wants to speak to you, yeah? Take an example of a club. You go with your best friend, grab a couple of LIITs, you start getting loud, people are getting loud. Now your friend wants to speak to you something very discreet, maybe, pointing it out, 8 o'clock, 3 o'clock, but he goes very soft, and you can hear it. More relatable example would be, you are at the FOH, the gig is going full on at 104A weighted, your lighting engineer asks you for something, your manager comes to you, he speaks to you softly. Do you hear them? You do, right? Why is that? Because of those 3 points we discussed, our brain works around those 3 parameters and it localizes sound. So if you're in a room like this and you talk to your friend and you don't deliberately try to locate where the object is, where the source is, you won't be able to hear, yeah? So why I'm saying that is, take this example like a click. We all know click, yeah? Do we like clicks? I personally don't like clicks, yeah? But click is the loudest for a drummer. Do you think drummers love clicks? No? I doubt, man. They want click because that's their anchor, yeah? With all the new productions, having backing tracks, click tracks, he has to stay on time. So the click is always loudest. But when you are in an immersive space, generally, where do we keep the click in a stereo field? In terms of pan, keep it dead center, Because we've already established that dead center is you focus most there, yeah? So it's always there. It's crashing your head. The moment I go solo my drummer's cue, I hate him. I hate my job at that time. Like, why is click so loud? Now, we take advantage of Klang in that way. You pan your click slightly to the left, slightly to the right, or maybe go behind. We'll do all this. We'll listen to how it works. What I'm trying to say is, instead of getting the click levels loud, because our drummer is trying to identify that signal in a stereo field, which is this. If I have an immersive space, I can move that click wherever I need. And the moment drummer wants to, hook on to the click, pay more attention to the click, he just have to locate it. And you don't get demands for increasing the click levels, yeah? We'll discuss this again. Did that make sense? No? Yeah? Okay. So what is our psychology in terms of mixing? We all have done monitors at some point or the other. I train a lot of engineers. I work with a lot of engineers in terms of, getting them onto a certain workflow. So we develop monitor files. I generally notice whenever they have their multi-tracks, they'll set it up and they'll have a banging monitor mix ready for all the musicians, which is great. That is how you should go about. So generally, a mix would look like this, psychologically speaking. Everything balanced, everything loud, crisp, clear. You go to the show, the musicians hop onto the stage, and maybe like in 1.5, 2 minutes, your mix is like this, especially monitor mix. Why is that? Because the musician is used to hearing to his content in a specific way. So he will have, if he's a drummer, he would have drums loudest, little bit of bass, depending on how he has been rehearsing all his life. Same with vocalist. He would want the keyboards to be loud so that he can get the right pitch, and anything that gives him time, maybe a hat or a click, whatever. So eventually, the mix looks like this. And have we soloed such monitor mixes? Hardik, have we soloed such? Are they enjoyable? Not at all. So that's what we're trying to do. Instead of working on this center stereo field, we're just trying to give more space to move things around so that things that need to be paid attention to, they always stay in focus. So after this, we'll maybe discuss what zones do we have. We'll look at it from the app perspective. Make sense? Yeah? Any questions, guys? Please. No? Hardik, I have a question for you, bro. You've been interested in Klang. You want to check it out. If you're given like an immersive space and not a stereo field, how would you go about panning things? Just
My idea would be to kind of first start with placing them how they are placed on stage. Maybe not being too disrupted about it, but like giving things some space that they, like not using just left and right, but giving them a depth part of it that I feel that Klang will provide, so that you're not only just fighting with the level in the monitor field. So that's why, like, that's how I want to start. First, I want to see where they're standing so that their eyes are also coordinated with what they are hearing.
correct, correct.
Not with just left and right. And you can't just create that with the left and right because you need depth and you
Exactly.
need like the
Exactly.
extra information, metadata you can call it or whatever.
Yeah, even in a stereo domain, if you create some sense of depth by adding some reverbs, which we all
Still
do.
that reverb is not that depth. It's just, how can a plate decide 2 feet distance or a 2 meter distance? It's just,
Yeah,
it's
I mean that's what we've been working with
yeah.
when we didn't have such processors. Yeah, this is not a brand specific session, guys. As at this point, Klang is the only brand doing pro immersive monitor mixes with least latency. So we're trying to focus on that. That's the reason why I'll not show you guys anything that's happening on the console. We'll have nothing on the console. I'll not show you what EQ has been done, what compression has been done. Idea is to just compare a 3D space and a stereo space. Yeah? So like Hardik said, if we give all the instruments their space, they won't mask each other. In a stereo domain, they mask each other. You would have phase coherence issues, you'll have cancellations, blah, 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 a lot of other things. So in order to get rid of that, I would rather locate them, like you said, so that they don't mask each other and there is some sense of clarity. Let's say there are like these chunky, big electric guitars. They're almost like ping noise to me, In a stereo domain, I pan them left, right, it's horrible because it's taking up all the important zone, not even like tone-wise or anything. This is my important zone. We've already established the most focus zone would be here. Now, if I pan my guitars here, I can't monitor anything because it's primarily like a very big bandwidth signal. It moves around from, some boys take it down to 180, man. They're chugging 180 hertz on an electric guitar. And like high mids are just through the roof. So if you pan them straight left, right, there will be a lot of masking. There will be no clarity. So that is why we want to move things around as per the musician's need, how he wants it, and we develop some space. Make sense? Easy? Okay. So we've already covered this, the focus zones, yeah? Just a quick overview. Why is this our focus zone? We were built that way. We grew up. We were quite tiny as compared to our parents or elders, to whom we would look forward to for the most important cues of your life, your parents telling you how to eat, how to sleep. So you always look at them this way. So you develop the focus zone there. So that is why it's always here. Your main focus zone is here. Otherwise, I would talk to you like this, right? I can't talk to you like this because that's my focus zone. And the part behind is the least focus zone. Primarily below our waist. If there's a sound source coming from behind, you would not bother. You would hear it, there'll be clarity. It will never interfere with your focus zone, yeah? So that is what you take advantage of, a full 360 space and some sense of elevation, yeah? Make sense? Any questions? Okay, cool. So, what's this? What's this? So we have seen a lot of people do, 1 year in, 1 year out. We've measured this. Moment you take 1 year out, your levels will go up. Your levels will go up. And they go up by 10 dBs. It is very loud. You don't realize it because the left or the right ear is free. Like I mentioned, your HF can travel through the ear to the other ear. The low end will be omni, will be around you. So you tend to remove 1 ear and crank it up and then get monitoring. It's 10 dB louds. It's dangerous. Moment you get on an immersive space, you're actually 6 dB softer. If you're running like a -12 session on a stereo, I will guarantee you will hit somewhere between -16 at that time. Like you would run actually 6 dB softer on an immersive show. What does that do to us? Yep. Exactly, longevity. We want our musicians to play longer. We want more gigs. We want to pursue our career for a long period of time. Also, we want the musician to feel comfortable, not have ear fatigue. The moment he steps off the stage, he wants to leave. He doesn't want to talk to anyone because the dude had 1 ear out, 10 dB cranked up. He doesn't know what's happening with him. He doesn't know. He knows that he can sing. He's just going for it. So the moment you start introducing immersive monitoring with the right focus zones, the listening levels are so healthy, the musicians actually have headroom to speak to you. I generally don't end up speaking with musicians whenever they are on stereo because I'm also not enjoying it, so I also don't want to go there. It's just a day, job done. But I've noticed, moment I'm on a 3D, the musicians are very relaxed. They would rather step off the stage and chill out for 10, 15 minutes and then go. Whereas you would see musicians just packing and rushing, going home, crashing. Yeah? Make sense? So the psychology of having one in-ear is very dangerous. I would highly recommend everyone to inform your artists if they're doing something like this. Don't get anal. Just inform them if they want one ear. It's like that. Cool, makes sense? Any questions, guys? Come on. Throw some questions. Let's do it. No? Is it that simple? It is, right? Okay. So this is what I was talking about, the listening fatigue. Yeah, when you're on a stereo width, you're trying to fight focus zones, masking is happening, you're looking for intelligibility, you're playing. So brain is working too hard. You get tired. Moment you are in a 3D space, your zones are, you've defined your zones. It's easier for the brain to counteract and work accordingly. Okay. Any questions? No. All right. So how many of us are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. 43. 40. Okay. So unfortunately, we are too many now. Okay. I have 22 earpieces with me. How many of us have earpieces with us? Okay. All right. So how do we do this? Should we do in batch of 2? Makes sense, yeah? I'm not going to spend a lot of time. We don't want to mix. I don't know. It was the easiest way to give it title immersive mixing. I just wanted to get you guys acquainted to the immersive space more than understanding how to mix. Because mix is easy. Once you figure out the workflow, you know where to place what. And also it will depend on how your musician wanted to. You'll work around that always. So maybe we do it in batch of 2, it'll be easier, yeah? I'm really sorry, it's not my fault, but I apologize. The in-ears never made it. I had organized 40 earpieces, some 18 earpieces are gone. So I have 22 exactly, yeah? Although I have 40 belt packs, I was expecting you guys will get your earpieces. Anyways, no worries. So should we do that? Like maybe batch of 2, yeah? Okay. So, bro, can we distribute the... Yeah, some on left, some on right. Otherwise, it'll be time consuming to pass. You guys can do it in the second session.
Check, 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 check. Hey.
Also, I'll be muting the PA for the listening demo. Yeah, so people don't have who don't have earpieces. Huh? Sorry? So, since you're not listening through both your ears, the LF is always omni. Yeah, it's around your head. It can travel anywhere. But HF is always directive. So, the moment you get rid of one in ear, you need more HF. So, it's psychological. You crank your level up. The moment you'll realize the moment any musician gets their one left out, one ear out, they straight go for the belt pack and crank it up. Although the units on the belt pack goes a dB level, but in the real domain, it's almost a 10 decibel difference. Yeah. So, like I said, I'll be muting the PA for this bit. It's a multi-track from one of my bands. It was a live gig. Please don't pay attention to how the mix sounds at this point, because we just made the session here, did some high pass. I want you to understand and listen to the difference between this space. And then I'll start moving things around and see how those 3 points we discussed about counteract, yeah? Are all the in-ears in stereo mode? Huh? Did we check? I hope all the in-ears are in stereo mode. Okay. it. So, how is that possible? Like, you move your bass guitar to the left, you hear low end as an omni source, but the sense of directivity, which is high mid, is actually panned nicely. Our brain is constantly applying delays. Like I said, as a system engineer, you go to a new room, you get your RTA out, you take your response, your phase response, EQ curves and everything, you cut down your nodes, you bump anything that you need, and you've made your room sound almost flat. Yeah? That's what we are trying to do here. Clang is actually calculating delays constantly, yeah, as you move, and it's not a very intensive job. The brain is constantly doing it in the background. You know, that's why those 3 points where I'm actually further away from the right ear, still you don't feel any flange. You know, you have two sources. I'm slightly towards your left ear, closer to your left ear, further to your right ear, but you don't feel any impulse problem, do we? No, right? So that's what Clang is doing. It's actually calculating delay values, concept of coloration, and the pan difference. So that's how it's actually giving you the immersive results. Make sense? Yeah? Okay. So what I would like to do is maybe we pass on the belt packs to the rest of the people. And you guys can meanwhile either think of some questions, or guys can feel free to come here, check it out, what's happening. Please, sir. Can we get a mic or something?
Awesome. Next time, try this on a spectral.
Of course, of course. I love them, yeah. Do we have any questions, please? Any questions? No? I mean, you guys will hear it and then you can ask. It's all right. Check, check. Okay.
it's feel all congested, the instruments and all, and the stereo. Right, right.
Okay. So, we can get the ears out. Did we hear especially what happened with the low end? Yeah? Was it interesting?
So we have seen with the mono source. So when you're doing with the stereo source, probably a playback, your keyboard player. Imagine I have two keyboard players who is just playing a warm pads or warm for the keys,
Yeah.
and the other guy is playing the lead.
Yeah.
So how do I pan it? How does it sound in my ears?
Generally, if it's a full bandwidth, full frequency bandwidth signal, like chunky big guitars, synth pads, like you said, which consume a lot of frequency domain, I never would pan them in front of me. If it's my electric guitar guy, I would only give his guitars in the focus zone. The keyboards with big synths go back. When they go back, they are audible. You can keep them loud, but they don't interfere. So what we try to do is, moment you solo drums, bass, guitars, you want all of them to be playing in the same dynamic range. You know, I've seen a lot of musicians taking very few things in their ears, and they're playing solo because they are only taking the click or the hat and maybe something for pitch reference. They've memorized their playing. They play so mechanically. There is no dynamic range. And where does it affect your dynamic range? The FOH dude. He's constantly working with the faders. If you give your musicians a balanced mix across the stage, if your singer can actually hear loud, accented kicks, he will sing that way. You won't have to move faders at the FOH because you're ideally balancing at the FOH things. You know, you want to fix the source. We always want to fix the source. You don't want to be balancing constantly. Do we enjoy balancing? We do, but we don't like fighting with the faders, you know. Every second you have to, especially with the keyboards, you know, like the higher frequency domain or big chunky frequency domains, you don't want them to be in your focus zone and interfere with your listening. Yeah? Make sense? Okay. Any other question? Because we'll wind it up. She's been asking me to fuck off. I'll leave. I'm just kidding. You've been very nice. Thanks. Anything else, guys? Come on, please. Yeah, of course. I'll quickly show you. So this is my immersive domain, like the left to right. And this is where I get my sense of elevation. So if we look at that, let's go to this guy only. So this is my cue, yeah? I've actually placed the floor tom slightly up. My drummer actually keeps the floor tom slightly above. Generally they don't. And he always tells me ki, bro, center mein kar do. You know, the floor tom, he wants it on the center. I don't like it. I somehow don't like it. It took me 3-4 shows to convince him ki, dude, let's just pan it slightly and I'll make you feel that the shell is closer to you. All I did was just elevated a little bit of floor tom and it was like right there. It sorted my cue also. I don't want to hear floor tom in the center. I hate it for some reason. Yeah, so this is where I would actually do the elevation. This is my high focus zone. High focus zone. This is the least focus zone. Yeah. So if you notice, I have all my verbs working in the back end. So that's why I can actually push my verbs really loud and not interfere with the dry signal. Yeah. And also for the verbs, the sense of elevation is great. Like I said, below waist is the least priority zone. So put your verbs behind and just bring them down. So yeah, you want your musician to hear some reverb, you know. It's not nice without verb. Make sense? Any other question? Come on. All good? So it's all right, no stress. I'm at the booth 1. If you guys have any question, you guys want to come listen to it again, please come to high-tech booth and we shall give it a go. Sorry? Okay. All right, thank you guys. That was it. Cheers.
Thanks so much, Piyush. If you could just wait for a moment on stage, I just have something to give you, and then we can. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please stay back for our next session, A2 net control and digital audio in a single cable. Please do wait. Thank you.